Are you optimistic about? I mean, we've said it's a must-win game. If they lose, they're done. But I think we both expect them to win. And if they win, they go into the game against the Rams with momentum. Are you optimistic about this team? Do you still think it has a legit chance to go to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, if we're talking Super Bowl, I'm just not sure, and that's because I think when we talked about the Nick Bosa injury 2 weeks ago, to me, it's really difficult to go to the Super Bowl when you're missing a player like Nick Bosa. That's a tough ask for any team, and the Niners are just another team in the sense that when you lose one of your top two best players, especially one that is you don't have a replacement for, it becomes very difficult. But I think they have a very good shot at going to the playoffs and winning a playoff game still.
Why? What are the reasons for optimism?
Look, I'm really optimistic. I thought Brandon Ayuk has played really well the last 2 weeks. I thought he's looked explosive. Debo did not look sore or rusty. He looked like he was physical and ready to play yesterday. George Kittle looked great. Even with the injuries to Jordan Reed, this offense has more than enough weapons when you throw in Kendrick Bourne and Raheem Mostert returning and Jet McKinnon, who's looked rejuvenated the last 4 weeks. This offense has more than enough weapons and they have Kyle Shanahan. So this offense has more than enough weapons and a top
Jimmy's coming back,
right, to create to have a top 5 to 10 offense, maybe a top 5 offense. They were number 2 last year.
Okay, so Vish, you're Mr. Positivity today. I'm going to be devil's advocate. Every time you say something that for reason for optimism, I'm just going to say, have you thought about this? And I'm not disagreeing with you because you're the expert on Mondays with Vish. I'm just making sure you've considered everything. So yes, they have terrific weapons. I totally agree. And Jimmy Garoppolo has shown that he can distribute the ball to these weapons with quick passes excellently. But what I think a cause for concern is that makes this team different than last year's team is the offensive line. Let's be real specific. And then we'll get to the run game and things like that. The run game should improve when Raheem Mostert comes back. But Mostert isn't going to make McGlinchey play better. Let's talk real specifically about that right tackle, Mike McGlinchey. He didn't play like that last year. He, for whatever reason, looks way worse than last. It looks like he's regressed. And it seemed to me that even when Jimmy was playing and doing the best he could against Arizona and the Jets, McGlinchey was an issue. So why is the offensive line going to improve to the point that it's not a liability that it is now?
Okay. Regarding Mike McGlinchey, I cannot speak on whether there's going to be an improvement. It's really bad. It's worrisome, especially because for Mike McGlinchey, this is not a walk in the park year. This is the year that they decide on his 5th-year option. He's a captain of this team. He was expected to replace Joe Staley both in the locker room and on the field as the new kind of guy on the offensive line that's there for the next 10 years and is the voice of the team. And he has not lived up to that at all through the first 4 weeks of the season. But the way I see it is that offensive line play has been terrible across the entire NFL through 4 weeks. And it's because offensive line play is all about continuity. And these guys have not gotten reps together. They didn't even get reps together in camp because of the injuries to Ben Garland and others. And a well-coached team like the Niners with a good offensive line coach like John Benton, I'm sure they're going to figure it out by week 8, week 9. And this offensive line will get better. And it's going to be an okay offensive line to me by the end of this season.
Okay, it seems to me that pass protection isn't going to be a strength of this offensive line, but it wasn't last year. What the offensive line did well was run block, and that in conjunction with the defense gave them a lot of leads. So what I want to ask you finally with your optimism is, why do you think the run game is going to get on track? Obviously, Raheem Mostert coming back, if he does come back, would be a big boost. But it seems like the issue isn't just the running backs. McKinnon's running well. He's running very hard and only yesterday he averaged 3.8 yards per carry. So why do you think the run game is going to be – what do you see from the run game? It doesn't seem like it's as diverse as it was last year.
Okay, so the last 2 run defenses they've gone against, both Philly and the Giants are top 10 run defenses.
That is true. Came in averaging like 3.5 given up.
Right.
Carry, right? Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And in the Philly game yesterday, they ran for 116 yards, averaging 5.8 yards a carry. That is respectable. Now,
because of the wide receivers.
Right.
Yes.
My optimism stems from the fact that Deebo Samuel is only going to play more.
True.
He's going to get 2 to 3 rushes a game. Brandon Ayuk will get 1 to 2 rushes a game. George Kittle will get one rush every other game. You add that, you sprinkle in Mostert, you sprinkle in McKinnon, run game's going to be better. And then the reason yesterday I actually thought they ran the ball fine, the situation is what dictated the run game yesterday. So they had the big drive, right? 12 plays, 75 yards at the beginning of the second half. That took 6 minutes and 34 seconds off the clock. They ran the ball fine in that drive. Actually, Jed had a couple of very good runs in that drive. They didn't have explosives, but they had 5 to 10 yard runs. Then the Eagles went on a 16-play, 62-yard drive that took 7 minutes and 31 seconds. That drive basically ended the third quarter, and the Eagles made the score 14-11. Then the first play of the very next drive, Nick Mullins took a sack. So now you're in first. Now you're in second and 22. It was a minus 12-yard sack. You can't run the ball out of that situation. That drive was a bust. Then the very next drive, Mullins fumbled. You can't run the ball in that drive. And then the Eagles scored off of that fumble, and he finally threw the pick six. So I thought the run game was actually fine yesterday. I thought situation didn't allow them to run the football the way they could have yesterday. And I think it'll be fine moving forward, especially because of the way Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk both looked. I think Kyle Shanahan is going to definitely be in his bag, and he's going to be cooking up some really good explosive runs with both of them.
I'm not letting Kyle Shanahan off the hook that easy. I mean, okay. So the Eagles had the ball all through the third quarter, and he called some passes on first down in the fourth quarter. Down 3. You can call an end around on 1st and 10. I want to see the tape first. But I'd like to see what look they were facing that they couldn't run an end around, because they've run an end around successfully for like 12 months. Come on, dude. I'm sorry. Kyle, come back to things that work. You don't have to be a genius all the time. If it works, try it twice.
Fair enough. I tend to go with the excuse that from what I saw, I mean, again, this is just watching the game on TV.
Yeah.
The Mullins sack, basically, it was the fake end around. So they had Deebo coming across, and they did have that motion, but Ross Dwelly got blown up and Trent Williams got beat, and Mullins kind of panicked with them around him, and he had Deebo open maybe on his check down, but he panicked. It's okay. It happens. 12-yard loss. That's fine. Move on. Now, the bigger problems arise. That was a bust drive, but those drives happen in every game if they get a sack on first down. The bigger problem arose with the other 2 drives. He turned the ball over. We can talk about him later. But the thing that
let's talk about Mullins
real quick.
Let's talk about Mullins right now. Unless you want to keep going. Keep going. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
So what I wanted to say real quick is the reason I'm optimistic about this offensive line is that this offense is built on getting first downs on first down and second down. And Kyle Shanahan will make sure that they get 6 yards of play on first down. And they don't have to beat themselves. As long as, look, Jimmy's job is just to make 2 plays on 3rd and 8 a game.
That's true.
And he has shown he's capable of doing that. Otherwise, this offensive line won't be stuck in pass protection like this. And you're not going to face a D-line like Phillies either again.
Yeah. Now, he didn't week 1 against the Arizona Cardinals, which was, I think, why everyone was like, well, who is that? He always makes a couple plays, and in Arizona, he didn't. And then the next week against the Jets, he absolutely did. And I think I'm always like nitpicking at Jimmy Garoppolo, but I want to say one thing he did in the 6 quarters that he played so far that was encouraging is he didn't turn the ball over. And he had an issue with that. So that seems to me that he is maturing as a quarterback. And the fact that, like, we can talk about Mullins in a second, but to me, what Mullins, the pressure of the moment in that game was too much for him in like a lot of ways. The pressure of the defensive line, the pressure of having to prove himself on national television and all that was at stake. Jimmy Garoppolo's been on big stages. Like I mean, he didn't exactly respond well in the Super Bowl, but he's been on bigger stages than Sunday Night Football. So right now, absolutely, getting Jimmy Garoppolo back is a huge confidence boost to the whole team.